Hey everyone, welcome back to Hills and Hollers Homestead. I just got the lights installed in the chicken coop. Now these are just simple LED lights. And I got in this side, and then I got them over here in this side. And I just did one each. And the reason I'm doing that, a couple reasons. So these doors I got the automatic chicken doors. And they are light sensitive. So they have a little eye on them. So when the light gets bright enough, they open up. When it gets dark, they close. Now, we're coming into winter season right now. Well, fall season, I apologize. And so it's getting darker earlier, we know that, and it's getting lighter later. So this time of year, as it gets darker, chickens need so many hours of light per day. This will help extend their light hours through the day and hopefully keep my egg production up. Also, what I did, and don't laugh because you know what? This is homestead stuff. All I did was I ran an extension cord out here because I do not have electric ran out here other than with the extension cord. So I hung one of these multi-port reels up here, and now this thing is charging up. It's a timer, and even though it plugs into power, it says you have to charge it up for about an hour before you can settle it or set it. So it'll actually hang right here beside this. The main extension cord will plug into that, and then the reel will plug into this, which the lights are plugged into, and that'll control the lights. So I'm gonna have set it to have the lights kick on about 6:15, 6:30 in the morning, and I'm gonna have them go off about 8 o'clock at night. That way they get about 16 hours of light a day. All right, so that's one project done. So it makes it nice, it really does. Even though it is done by extension cord, and it just is what it is at this point. I could probably do a solar type of setup out here if I knew what I was doing with solar. I don't. I have no idea what I'm doing with solar. So for now, it's an extension cord. I'm going to be cutting grass maybe once or twice more for this year, and that's going to be it. So I'm not really worried about that, and I can just always move the extension cord when I cut grass like I do now. But anyways, so that little project is done, and I'm just waiting on that timer to charge up. Then I can set the timer and everything, make sure everything is good. And I did cut a door in here in this side and put the door on there. Now these things are supposed to face out, so it actually should be on the outside of the building, but I didn't want to do that. I want to be able to control, because actually this side of the building is the north facing side, and the other side of the coop where the other door is a southwest facing side. So I didn't want them opening up at different times. I want them to open up right about the same time. So that'll just keep it like that. Keeps them out of the weather, even though they say they're weatherproof. They're expensive enough. I don't want to test that, so I just put them on the inside. And they'll all open up at the same time and close at the same time. So the plan is, now that the door's in place, all I need to do now, like I said, other than timer, is I need to get my fence panels to separate my run out here. And I've got a couple extra fence panels. These are the 10 by 6 or 10 feet long, 6 foot tall. I got these, most of these I got at Rural King for like $60 a piece. And they make it really nice. And you get them with the door in them too, so this has a door. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to split this run. I got just a massive wood chips back down here. So this is the chicken door for this side, and then that side of the chicken door goes out that. So what I'm going to do is right here at the middle is I'm going to run 2 panels down to right here at this corner to meet. And that way I'll keep my American breasts on this side and my Delaware broilers on this side. That way I can keep the breeds completely separate. I can mingle them when I want to. And ultimately, when they start getting old enough, what I can do is I can put the hens on one side and all the roosters on the other. And in the warmer weather, my grow outs will go out here in one of the chicken tractors and stuff and put them on the grass and everything, let them grow on the grass. And I'll eventually just put electric netting out around here and let these chickens go out there and do their thing as well. So I'm not going to keep them all confined all at the same time. Last couple cuttings of grass that I do, I'm going to come and just dump the grass clippings in here, and it gives another base on this to let them dig through, scratch through, and it gives me compost later on. All right. So I haven't fed the piggies yet. I'm going to walk out there now to do that. Like I said, I'm just trying piddly little things right now to wait for that thing to charge up so I can get the timer set on it. So it was 88 degrees here yesterday. I was like, this is just miserable. I can't stand the hot. I'm done with hot weather. Absolutely done. So went from 88 degrees yesterday, 67 degrees today. Now it dumped about about 2 inches of rain on us last night. And I didn't even know it. I mean, I had like a brief 4-hour period there where I really did sleep. And I got up this morning, it was still dark, and I walked out here to throw my boots on. I was like, oh, my boots are full of water. I said, I yelled at the wife, I said, did it rain last night? She goes, are you kidding me? So yeah, it rained. But yeah, so it perfect. Beautiful weather. This is my kind of weather at 68 degrees. I guess at 9:03 p.m. tonight, it's officially fall. As far as I'm concerned, this is the kind of weather we can keep all the time. Now, it is a little cloudy and overcast today, but the rest of the week, I think for about the next 10 days, the warmest it's supposed to be 71 degrees. So I am not going to complain about that at all, because there's a lot of stuff for me to get caught up on right now. Okay, so piggies. Hi, piggies. All right, so brain activity yesterday evening while I was out here feeding them, and they kicked their feeders all around. So brain activity is, this thing is 48 feet long. This pen is 48 feet long. Again, I love this breed. I don't have anything to compare them to, but if it ain't broke, don't fix it. What? Are you that hungry? That would be pugnacious, squealing like that. I know. All right, so what I got to thinking last night is, and this is what I've talked to the wife about, I want to raise pigs. I want to continue to keep pigs on the property, and just like chickens, I want to be able to produce my own pigs here on the property. So, all right, can I talk for a minute? Can I talk? Can you just chill a minute? All right, so, all right, hold on a second. Thought I was going to have to get him a tissue if he kept whining like, yeah, geez, oh whiz, you act like he hasn't eaten. All right, so what I got to thinking is, well, of course, to raise pigs, we're going to have to keep pigs all season, all year round. So we're going to have shelter for them. We're going to have farrowing sheds for them. We're going to have separate pens for the boars, separate pens for the gilts and the sows, and then separate for our grow outs. Now, what I was talking about this thing being 48 feet long is, I'll get the last couple scoops in here. They haven't used that whole area. And when I first brought them here, for about the first 4 days, they just stayed in the shelter. They come out a little bit to get a little bit of drink, a little bit to eat, but other than that, they slept in the shelter and they stayed there. Since they've been out and about into the woods and stuff, they're not even using that shelter. I think they're using it more as a bathroom right now when they're up here, is more than anything. Are you happy now? Got a mouthful now, huh? All right, so what I was going to do, multitasking, homestead multitasking at that. Okay, so back to this. Okay, so like I said, this thing's 48 feet long, 16 feet wide. I was going to take, and this is the open gate that goes out into this entire paddock. All of this clear out to the house, okay? So the second paddock was going to go out that gate right there, over top, and then down below this paddock. So that's still viable. We just didn't finish it this year because they've got all this to work on. So there's plenty up here for them still, and I didn't want to, get into that so much. So what I'm going to do is, 2 of the panels come together right here. I'm going to move this. I'm going to take it down a pallet lengthwise, and I'm going to move it over here, and I'm going to run the panel right here between these 2 posts. And then this becomes usable area again. And what I can do is I can make this area right here, I can do a separate pen here. Ain't that big? Ain't going zoomed in good. So I can do a separate pen here, and then a separate pen here, and then a building or a farrowing pen. Anyways, I got all this area now here, especially this one. I burn the rest of this up. I've got this whole area right here now up to that post right there to work with. So I can build my separate pens. I can rearrange this. This is nothing more than undoing clips and pulling the panels up, and well, the electric fence, but that's not hard either. So I can rearrange all this. This is no big deal. I can do separate pens all the way down through here if I need to, with exits out. And I can actually separate the paddock if I want to as well. So mumbling and jumbling, the whole point is is to kind of organize this after these folks are gone, and have it ready for next year when we do bring pigs in again. That way I can get at least one intact boar, and then the rest gilts, and maybe just a couple barrows. And if you don't know, a barrow is a castrated male, to grow for meat for next year, and then keep my 2 sows, gilts, whatever they are, and my 1 boar to propagate the herd. Okay, so that way I can continue to reproduce and raise pigs here, and I don't have to depend on somebody else to get our pigs from. So that's the whole plan of that. That also kind of comes into play with the whole idea with the sheep. When we bring the lambs in over there, is I want to do a first year run to see how they do. If it's an easy thing to do, not easy, but if it turns out as good or even as close to good as these with the pigs did, then we'll look at getting a ram and raising our own lambs later on. But for now, I definitely want to expand this, or separate, reorganize this. But the whole fence thing, I have to do a whole property fence over there, and there is terrible amounts of brush that I have to clear out of there because it's not been touched for years. I tell you, terrible amounts of brush. It is much worse than this is here. It's almost a nightmare. It's one of those things that's got me going, I probably should just go ahead and buy some extra chainsaw chains to save myself some time sharpening, and just go ahead and get the injector pump back on a dozer, get it running, because that may make things a lot, I know that would definitely make things a lot easier, but I do have to go in and hand clear a good portion of it first before I even think about doing that. But they came and cut hay yesterday. He got it cut yesterday morning. He got it tedded yesterday afternoon, and it rained on him last night, so he just come and re-tedded it again. He's going to bale it tomorrow. Didn't get a whole lot of hay out of this second cutting. First cutting they did. All right, so now that I've rambled on about this enough, and we're 12 minutes into this one, look, I want to tell you something. So all the videos I put out there about preparedness and everything like that, and everything that's going on in this world, you know, I listen to a lot of stuff through the day while I'm working, a lot of different opinions on different things. I don't need to listen to somebody else's opinions about politics. I have my own opinion of that. And that's based on experience and evidence. But you listen to a lot of the market stuff. You listen to a lot of people, different points of view and stuff like that from the market and our economy and everything that's going on. And there's several things going against us right now. So the Feds raised the rates again, 75 basis points yesterday, which is 0.75%, if you didn't know that. And they're continuing to raise the rates in an attempt to quell or squash inflation. There is not an economic model, a financial model out there that shows that this was going to work. None of them. Penn Wharton economics, or School of Business, or School of Economics, whatever it is, Penn Wharton, and then a couple of the others, even the CBO, it's not going to work. So we don't know. So what they're doing is they're just making things tougher on us, and I laugh about it. It's inappropriate laughter. It's not laughing at it. It's laughing at the situation that people think that others are that dumb to allow them to do what they're doing. So with all of that going on, buy your precious metals, pull your money out of the stock market, do cash, do this, do that. Listen, I've heard a lot of good things over the last couple of days, and one of them I heard about the precious metals was, what are you going to do with all that silver and gold if the economy completely crashes and the dollar becomes useless? If it becomes completely no value whatsoever, what are you going to do with that 1 ounce silver coin? And if you need bread, if you need a loaf of bread, you're going to give somebody an ounce of silver for a loaf of bread? How are they going to give you change back? Do you think you're going to get rich suddenly now that you've got all this precious metal and the dollar is valueless? And I'm going, you never really looked at it that way. But truthfully, truth of the matter is, you know, you can get some precious metals just to kind of have off to the side. But in the end, I think I'm just going to kind of halt, you know, what I was doing with that. I do have some money in the stock market on my own. This is outside of my own retirement and stuff like that, that is set up through my work and everything. But definitely going to start doing a lot more cash transactions and keeping more cash on hand. Major credit card carriers like Visa, MasterCard, American Express, all them, they're now going to start reporting firearms purchases as such, where they previously listed them as like general merchandise. Now they're going to start listing them as firearm purchases, kind of like a flag deal. So I'm definitely not going to be doing any debit credit card type of purchases. And we don't use a credit card for much anything at all. But as your debit card from your local bank is either a Visa or MasterCard. So, and that applies there as well. So we're going to definitely stop doing that kind of stuff with any kind of firearm purchases or stuff that we just don't want people tracking or have the potential to track. So a lot more cash purchases in the future for us. That's going to be our plan to do that. We're going to build this homestead. We're going to continue to expand it. Listen, on 2 acres. So we've got 4 rabbits. We got 2 bucks, 2 does in the rabbits. 2 does can produce up to 600 pounds of meat a year. And I didn't know that. And I was reading that and I was like, that's crazy. How? Seriously, 2 rabbits, 2 does can produce up to 600 pounds of meat a year. Now, those rabbits are going to be perpetually pregnant. 2 weeks after they give birth to 1 litter, you're going to be breeding them again and getting them pregnant. So for that amount of time, they are going to be pregnant and or nursing. And that's going to be hard on them, but in a situation where you would need that, up to 600 pounds of meat from 2 rabbits is crazy to think, because your average steer, if you got a steer that hangs at 750, 800 pounds in the cooler, you're only getting about 400 pounds of meat off that steer. So that's a fantastic, idea right there, a thought to me that's like, wow, that's amazing. I never really knew that. Then you look at the chickens. So you don't have to have a rooster to have eggs. The only thing a rooster does is fertilize eggs and make a bunch of daggone noise and flog it. But when you got roosters, he can fertilize eggs. You can incubate eggs every 30 days. If you've got a little group, if you got 8 hens, every 30 days you can be incubating and potentially bringing out 8 more chickens every 30 days. And of course you're looking at anywhere, depending on the breed, from 16 to 24 weeks before they can start laying eggs. But as a meat fat source and also as an egg source, on a homestead situation and with gardening and canning your stuff to preserve it through the winter and stuff, hey, that's amazing that you can on a small acreage produce that much meat from 4 rabbits and 8 chickens, if you got 8 chickens and 1 rooster. So think about that. To be self-sufficient, you don't have to have a bunch of acres for cattle. You don't have to have a bunch of acres for pigs. You don't have to have a bunch of acres for lambs. You don't have to have a bunch of acres for this, for that, for that. You can compact that all into one little area, and without overrunning and putting the animals in a situation where they're not able to get out and move around. I mean, honestly, where our house sets is 2 acres. Almost all of that is on 2 acres, except for this pig pen. A portion of their paddock, at least a quarter of their paddock, is on those 2 acres. So just a little bit more past that. And honestly, that's just at the end of the 2 acres on this side. I could take all of this and move to one side of the yard and still have everything on 2 acres. Now, I'm not going to do that because I want them as far away from the house as I can, because even though they're in the woods, right here, this little mud puddle, they like to get that thing stirred up, and whew, my goodness, on a good hot day, oh my God, you don't want to be near that thing. But don't think that you have to have a lot of acreage. If you have an acre, acre and a half, 2 acres, even a half an acre, you can do so much, and you can produce so much protein, so much fat, so many vegetables, so much food on that half acre. And I'm going to tell you, times are coming. Some of it's here. Times are coming. It's going to get a lot worse. It's going to get a lot harder. The next president, no matter who it is, ain't going to fix things in 4 years. You're looking in the market. Everything really hasn't come to a head yet. Everything has not hit rock bottom yet. Even though we're in bad situations and things are tough on a lot of people right now, it's going to get worse. There's no denying it. You can't. This is not some redneck up on a hill on a homestead in West Virginia saying, it's going to get bad, it's going to get bad. Folks, it's going to get bad. Everybody says it's going to get bad, except for the people who are feeding you a line of crap. So you're going to have to be prepared for what's coming. You're going to have to be prepared for the long term, because there is no easy fix to this. There's not going to be one president that's going to fix it in one term. And you still got 2 more years of this administration to continue to screw things up. And until we get rid of the Fed and the central bank system, it's going to continue to keep us in a position where we have to do this for ourselves, which is a blessing in and of itself, because it teaches us that we can be self-sufficient, we can be self-reliant, and we don't have to eat the poison that they're passing off as food and saying, this is healthy, this is what you should eat. So, all right, off soapbox. I'm almost 20 minutes into this. I'm going to stop right there. Get your butts ready, folks. Get prepared. Stay prepared. Starve that system. That system's trying to starve you. Take care. God bless.